Hello Oracles! Well, the Tesla China sales numbers are officially in. We had heard previously that they had delivered 83,000 vehicles. Now we have the breakdown. The breakdown is 77,600 domestic deliveries and 5,500 exports. So these numbers are very good. These numbers are in line with expectations. The previous record was back in June when they hit 77,800. So they were just shy of the record for domestic deliveries for China. So still an awesome number to see coming in line with expectations. The stock price, of course, right now is actually down 1.5% because these days when you come in line with expectations, it doesn't really matter because the stock is just going to sell off anyway because of the conditions that we are currently in. Now, yesterday pre-market, we were down about 2% when I had recorded my morning video, and then we ended up going about flat for the day. So we'll see how today trades. It could be something similar. We've got the PPI data coming out tomorrow, CPI data coming out on Thursday. So a lot of macro uncertainty still out there right now because inflation is going to be inevitably what rules the day. And when we get inflation numbers in, if they are still high, we know that the Fed is going to be raising rates. In a rising interest rate environment, we are most likely going to be in some turbulent times. Historically, that's just how it works. When the Fed is raising rates, there's a lot of uncertainty. There's moving in and out of equities on a regular basis. More people move out of them into bonds. Just kind of where we're at right now. That's just the reality of how things work when it comes to macroeconomics on a very basic level there. So just looking at this, we are not going to be getting ourselves into an actual bull market until the Fed finally gives us hints that they are going to be turning the corner on these interest rates. So we shall see what happens over the next year. Based upon the last information we had gotten from the Fed, they are not looking to make this U-turn until the end of 2023 or the beginning of 2024. Now, just to remember that the market does look 6 months ahead. So if the market is anticipating that the Fed is going to be making that U-turn, we could potentially see the market turn around 6 months prior to that moment. And of course, we do still have a lot of big money out there, just still waiting to see what Elon is going to be doing with Twitter and whether he has to sell more shares or not. Then we've got discussions about a buyback coming in, which a buyback coming in could encourage a lot of bigger money and institutions to invest more into Tesla as well. Lots of little different timing pieces going on right now. So again, tonight or tomorrow night, I will let you guys know for sure. We are going to be doing the chart chat here live so that I can show you guys all the different charts, the cup and handle that we had previously, how we've broken out from that, where we're trending right now, what we could be looking at as a long-term trend. We'll discuss all of that on chart chat. So I'll get that out to you guys so we can discuss seeing at least the near-term movements. Now, again, when it comes to long-term and your conviction, what the stock is going to do over the next 5 to 10 years, the charts right now don't really matter. To me, they just matter because if they do end up pulling down further, I can buy more for less because the more I can buy now, the better that's going to be in the future. So now looking at some of the mindsets that are going on with maybe Tesla consumers, I'm going to use just myself as an example because I am a Tesla consumer. I have my Model Y that is scheduled now for delivery October 28th to November 11th. So I'm not ready for my delivery yet, and I definitely want to push it off to next year to get my EV tax credit. I do not know if I will be able to do that or not. I'm hearing conflicting reports as to whether I can do that. So I will be finding out from Tesla themselves if I would still qualify if I push off and if I am allowed to push off. Now, the next question I have to myself is, well, if they don't allow me to push it off and I'm not ready to take my delivery right now, do I just decide to cancel my order and reorder again for next year? Now, looking at the price difference, right now there's a $5,500 difference between what I paid for mine and what the now prices are for the Model Y. So then my thought is, well, if I cancel and I decide to go with the EV tax credit for next year, sure, I may be paying more as far as the number looks, but when you take the EV tax credit out, I would pay less. So some decisions that I've got to make on my own, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. So there's probably a lot of consumers out there thinking about this, especially with all these talks about a potential recession coming up. If we get into a recession, a lot of people could be losing their jobs. So not to say that there's a demand issue, there's just kind of like a pensive issue. People just pondering, hey, do I buy it now? Do I wait? There's a lot of uncertainty. Maybe I don't need a vehicle right now, so I can hold off for a little while. That's my mindset right now, and again, I'm sure I'm not the only one in this. Let me know if you guys are in a similar situation, because I do want to get my Model Y. Obviously, it's an awesome vehicle. I would not want it, but for me, if I can use that money elsewhere, like I made the decision the other day when it comes to the vacation, we were discussing how I wanted to go to Cancun, and I was like, I haven't gone on a vacation in a long time, but do I want to spend that money instead on Tesla stock? Well, I had decided last minute, you know what, I am not going to go there. I'm going to take the week off anyway, but I'll do stuff locally. And then of course what happens? Well, I've got a kid and my kid wants to go to a soccer camp, so that's going to cost me just as much as the trip did. So that money is getting well spent into my child versus me going on vacation. Not a big deal, but that expense just came up out of nowhere where I was planning on saving that money. I still need to spend it. So just looking at the different expenses and things that I have coming up and other people have coming up as well, especially going into holiday season, you know, maybe it's one of those things where people are like, maybe I'll just kind of work my vehicle along right now with what I've got, and then I'll take a look at it next year. And who knows, maybe if we get into a recessionary time next year, Tesla comes down on their prices. Elon has already alluded to that. So a lot of different things that are playing out in my mind right now as far as decision making needs to go to get this Tesla for myself, but I have no doubt that others are feeling the same way. So just taking a look at these different things going on, what we're going to see for Q4 numbers, I do still think we are going to see record Q4 numbers. That's not a question in my mind. But are those numbers going to be enough to reach that 50% year-over-year growth and hit 1.4 million vehicles delivered, or are we going to fall short? Again, I'm just one person and who knows how many others are thinking like this, but that could be a potential reason why we end up pushing off into Q1 of 2023. Now, Karav had just shared with me all of his preliminary 2023 numbers that he is projecting right now. If you guys do not follow him, he is over on Twitter at Tesla Karav, that is Kairav. So if you guys want to follow him over there, I do have his link down in the description, and his numbers are coming out for next year looking very strong at 2.5 million vehicles. So taking a look at the numbers that could be pushed off into next year, that could exaggerate some of the numbers that we do see next year. Personally, I have them at 2.3 million vehicles being sold next year, so that still is going to be well above the 50% that we are seeing this year. So if they do come in at 1.4 million this year, then 2.1 million would be that 50% year-over-year growth for next year. So again, a lot of questions need to be answered, but taking a look at the number and the growth that we are seeing coming out of this, Karav has the EPS at $11, I have it at just over $9, so that EPS right there is what is going to be key for earnings for next year. As we're going into times that could be recessionary, it is going to come down to profits. If a company like a Tesla can still continue to grow its EPS over the next year, that is going to be huge. Looking at the last 2 years when it came to legacy auto, you know, a lot of companies, especially in automotive, their profits and their EPS came down significantly for the last 2 years. So that is not a good sign that you want to see. And if Tesla can get through tough times and continue to have their EPS go up, that is signs of a very strong company. And coming out of it, that means they're going to be even stronger. And so looking at the stock overall, seeing as how we outperformed the market yesterday, we bounced right around that $223 support level. So that is a very good sign for me. We'll see how we trade today. Again, pre-market at the time of this recording, down about 1.5%. So we'll see if we end up rebounding from that and holding at that 223. Because just as we saw when we hit that 313 level, when the stock hit that level and the entire market kept pushing up, but Tesla could not break through, we may see the same thing on the other end, where Tesla hits that 223 level and will not go below that, even though the entire market is pulling down. That would be the bottom level of support for Tesla to track. So we can then say that the range we're in is 223 to 313. I still want to see a few more days of data with this, especially with the CPI and PPI coming out. So if we can hold this level right now at the 223, that tells me that the only thing that is going to break us below that is something Tesla specific. So it could be earnings, it could be Elon selling some shares to get into Twitter, could be a few different things. I do not want us to break below that level, but if we were to break below it, it would require a strong catalyst, similar to how we need a strong catalyst to break us through that 313 level. So these are just the things I'm paying attention to, and again, we will discuss all of this on Chart Chat. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think is going to happen with Tesla's demand in Q4 when it comes to the EV tax credit and potential lowering of prices over in China? Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you guys are in a situation right now where you're trying to make a decision as to whether you want to push off your delivery or not as well to qualify for the EV tax credit. Now, don't forget, when it comes to the EV tax credit, Tesla can easily just do a lot of deliveries to Canada from the US. That can offset some of it. I still need to find out, again, if Hertz and these other companies who have big fleets can qualify for the EV tax credit, because if they cannot, they may be who Tesla focuses on for deliveries. So again, a lot of different things going on in Q4. And, you know, when it comes to the Chinese numbers, we usually get those every single month. So beginning of November, we should see October numbers to give us at least a good idea to see how the quarter started off, and those 20,000 vehicles that were in transit, where did those land, what's going on with those. That could answer a few questions as well. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate all of your support and feedback. If you have not subscribed, please do so down below. Sign yourself up for notifications. If you found value in this video, please consider sharing it with others. I do have a Discord chat. That link is down in the description. I am over on Twitter at OracleTim1. I share all the latest Tesla news, pertinent stock market information, and all of my daily trades. And if you'd like to support the channel any further, we do have a Patreon. That link is also in the description. Thank you so much. Have a great one.